All right, hello. It's Matthew. Here making another moveset video. I know I haven't uploaded it in a while, and that's because I'm still in the middle of exams. I'm just taking a bit of a break right now. My last exam is on the 22nd, so that's when I'll be back to my regularly scheduled uploading of things. Depending on how long you've been with the channel. Um, you if you've been with this channel long, you'll know that before I started exams, I uploaded on a pretty regular basis, but that's besides the point. I'll just get right into what I'm doing. Before I go over the moveset, which obviously if you've seen the title of the video is going to be on Murkrow, let's talk about birds here for a second, okay? Let's talk about really powerful birds, okay? Um, let's talk about Talonflame and Honchkrow, okay? So Talonflame, no, nobody uses Galewing. Nobody uses Flame Body. So we got Talonflame. And Talonflame is really fast, not only just by its speed stat to get off of Flare Blitz, but specifically by Gale Wings to get off the Brave Bird. So pretty much anything Talonflame wants to hit with Flare Blitz, it can outspeed, and anything else doesn't usually resist Brave Bird, so you can go for Brave Bird. So that's why Talonflame is so good. And Honchkrow, the reason Honchkrow is so good is because of that massive, ridiculous attack stat coming off of Brave Bird. Now, Honchkrow is UU specifically because of that speed stat. Now, what I'm going to try to convince you today is that Murkrow is kind of a blend of these two Pokemon. Now, that might sound weird, but if you look at it, Murkrow actually has a higher base attack stat than Talonflame, and it also has a higher base speed stat than Honchkrow. So it may look like I'm crazy for trying to use a moveset for this video, but just looking at how ridiculous Talonflame is, I think we can make Murkrow work. Now, flying types, I think a lot of not new players, but a lot of like just average players kind of look down on flying types specifically because of their stealth rock weakness. But flying types are one of the best offensive types in the entire game, specifically because the only things that resist flying are rock types, which are arguably the worst typing in the game other than ice types. So I'd argue that that rock is the second worst type in the game defensively, and offensively they have garbage moves anyway. Stone Edge is horribly inaccurate. Rock Slide is also inaccurate, but not only 90% accurate, but it's incredibly low base power. Like it's like 70, so it's not even worth using Rock Slide over Stone Edge. So they're both of the rock type's main stab moves are garbage, and they're incredibly bad defensively. So one of the only things that resist flying is rock types, which are bad. The other thing that resists them are steel types, but usually flying types have a way to hit steel types super effectively, and usually steel types they don't always resist flying, and when I say that I mean Scissor and Fortress are pretty big Pokemon. I guess those are the only two options I can think of because Skarmory still resists it, but so steel types are a thing, and they're very common typing, so I can see why people look down on flying types like that. And the last type that resists it are electric, and there aren't too many electric types that are defensive. There's like Rotom. I guess you could say like Raikou with Assault Vest is a pretty bulky electric type, and then Zapdos. But other than those three Pokemon, there's really not very many defensive electric types. So just the fact that you can hit everything in the game except for like shitty rock types, Skarmory, and like Rotom. Well, I'm talking OU right now, of course, with these Pokemon. But just because you can hit almost everything in the game for neutral damage is incredible. And not only that, but Brave Bird is an insane move. It's 120 base power, which, as you can see with Talonflame, its attack stat is not an amazing attack stat, but just because it has Brave Bird, which is an insane stab move to have, it hits really hard, even off that low base attack. So I'm going to try to convince you that Murkrow is very, very viable and very, very good, at the very least in NU or PU. Yeah, we'll go over the stats. It's faster than Honchkrow, and it has a higher attack stat than Talonflame. So let's start with that. First of all, as I said before, Brave Bird is a ridiculous, really good move to use. Hits really, really hard. Second move we're going to go with is Sucker Punch. Anything that you can't outspeed, you can hit with a Sucker Punch. Very, very good. These two moves, obviously, I didn't even need to say these. You know that these are going to be on there because they're so good. The last part is the part that I think is really cool, because Murkrow has Prankster. So what we're going to be going with is a cool idea that I wanted to do. Mirror move. So you can, it lets you copy your opponent's last move. A lot of conditions with this move. It's not copycat, so it's a really poor man's version of copycat. It's like a really bad version of copycat, but it's still like copycat's a really good move, especially with pranksters. So even though it's a bad version of it, it's still a good move. It fails if your opponent switches, so that's really bad. But and it doesn't work on like non-damaging moves, and yeah, those are the biggest things. But it's still priority because of prankster, and it lets you hit a lot of things hard. Like if your opponent's using a dragon and they go for a dragon type move, you can come in and let's say your opponent has a dragon, they've set up like 3 dragon dances, and then they go for outrage. You can bring this in after and mirror move their outrage and just OHKO them right back. Really cool move that I really like. Just the fact that you get priority with like almost any attack in the game, coupled with Sucker Punch, is just the huge things. A lot of times they'll predict the Sucker Punch and I guess go for like a setup move, and you can hit them with. Usually, of course, you'd want to go for Brave Bird, but just the fact that you can get priority with like almost any really powerful attack in the game is really, really cool. It lets you outspeed Scarfers that resist Sucker Punch, which is also really cool. For the last move we're going to be going with is a Substitute, is what I would like to go with. Just because you can come in, you can sub, see what attack they're going to go for, they're going to break your sub, and if it's an attack you want to use, you can mirror move it as a cool idea. You don't have to use Substitute, you can use Murkrow is actually an incredible move pool. It gets Defog, it gets Haze, so if someone sets up a Belly Drum, you can come in and priority Haze that away. It gets Heat Wave, and it has a pretty decent special attack stat. Well, I say decent. It has a not horrible special attack stat coming off of things like a base 95 special attack. Can hit things that are fully defensive pretty hard. It gets a Psycho Shift, Roosts. It gets a lot of Tailwind, Taunt, and Thunderwave are probably the most notable support moves that you can put over Substitute. Really, really good. Incredible Pokemon. Incredible move pool. But I like the idea of subbing, seeing what they're going to go for, and then mirror move. And sub works really well with Sucker Punch, because if they want to predict the Sucker Punch and switch out or do something, you can get up a free sub and proceed to do shenanigans. Item of choice, I like the idea of Life Orb, but Life Orb and Substitute are kind of a bad combination because you just die. So honestly, I think the best idea is to go with Leftovers. You do miss out on a lot of attacking prowess with Leftovers over Life Orb, but I like using Leftovers on Substitute Pokemon. If you want to use Life Orb and then just try to limit your substitutes, use it a lot more offensively, you can definitely go with that. But I don't know, I like Leftovers. For the EVs, we're going to be going with max attack and max speed, and it might seem strange to be using speed when you have Prankster, but again, Brave Bird is the best move that you're going to want to be going for. So, of course, we're going to be using Brave Bird. Put the last 4 in special attack. I always find it funny when people try to the last 4 EVs don't matter, come on, but I always find it funny when people try to justify the last 4 EVs. Like, they'll be like, yeah, so I'm going to be talking about Chansey, give it the Eviolite. And for the EVs, we're going to be going max HP and max defense.
For the last 4 EVs, a lot of people like to run in speed, but I think the best option is to put in special defense. Really helps you take on those special attackers better than if they were in speed, because if you don't put them in here, then you get kind of beaten by a lot of special attackers, so do this and you wall a lot of special attackers in the tier.
So I always find it funny when people try to justify that because last 4 don't matter, but hell, you're not going to not put them in, so you might as well put them in special attack. You can run, what's the nature? See, I know all the plus attack, I know all the minus attack and minus special attack natures off by heart, but I don't know the minus defense natures. I'm looking for plus attack minus special defense. And I cannot find it because I'm blind. Oh, there we go, Naughty. Naughty, I think, would be the best nature to run because you don't really need a speed boosting nature when you have Prankster and Sucker Punch. Because one of the notable things that you'd be outspeeding for base 90s with positive speed nature, one of the notable things that they want to outspeed is stuff like Mesprit, but you have Sucker Punch for that. However, running a positive speed nature is good to out-prioritize Zangoose, because Zangoose can quick attack, and if they're running Jolly, they'll out-prioritize you, which is kind of crappy, and you can't Sucker Punch. And you can't Brave Bird for fear of them not going for fear of them going for like Facade. So it's iffy. You can take a quick attack, but like you have to play around with if they're gonna quick attack, and I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. So my special defense nature, because that actually does kind of matter, because we do want to be hitting with Mirror Move. We are sometimes going to be getting special attacks, and again, we don't have a horrible special attack set, so we don't want to make it any worse, because if we can Mirror Move like a Draco Meteor, that's going to hit really hard. You don't see that very often in NU, but it's a really cool set. I really like the idea. I haven't used Mirror Move yet, but just the idea of it seems really, really cool, and I really want to try it out. So yeah, this is the recommended set. Give it a try, see what you guys think.